Welcome to the Cosmic Blessons podcast, where art, astrology, and lived experience meet. I'm Allie, your creative cosmic auntie, and this is a place for reflection, creative expression, and finding the blessings and lessons woven into every chapter of your life. I'm so glad you're here. Hello. Welcome back to the Cosmic Blessons podcast. This is the first episode of season 2. Happy 2026, y'all. We are in for a wild ride this year. There's a lot of astrology, once in a lifetime type things happening, which, we've been going through a lot of that, right? I won't go too much into it. I want to share a little bit more of that on my Instagram page. I am at astrological. If you're interested in following me there, I am just going to give like little snippets of how I'm using the astrology to get through my day-to-day and taking it one step at a time, because it can be very overwhelming when, especially with everything that's happening in the world. All we can do is control ourselves and our actions. And one of the ways that I am able to do that, to come back to myself, is connect with the astrology. So I know not everybody has a huge understanding of the astrology, but we can start with something very basic and fundamental, like the elements. So I think this is a great place for anybody to start, to help you connect more with your zodiac sign and kind of embrace the qualities of that sign. So when I say the elements, I'm talking, there are 4 different elements. Each of the zodiac sign falls into one of those. So we have water. So if you're a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that falls under the water signs. Our earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Our air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And our fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So just by identifying which element your sign is in is going to help you kind of recognize some of the traits and energies that that sign embodies. And maybe that can be helpful, because I think a lot of us are conditioned to do things a certain way, but is that actually what comes naturally to us? So I'll give a few more examples of this. So let's say you are a water sign. And so here are some of the energies or like keywords that are associated with water signs. Those are going to be feelings, intuition, having a great capacity to feel things deeply. Think about the element of water. It is wet. It is deep. It can be cold. Things of that sort. So if you have a water sign, you may relate to feeling very empathetic. You have, maybe you have some nurturing qualities to you. Those are all things that are associated with these water signs. Of course, with each of these elements, there is also, it has its strengths, but it also has the shadow side of it. So some of the shadow things that are associated with water could be like, maybe you're overly protected, like maybe you're super guarded and you don't let people in. Maybe you have a hard time with boundaries. If you think about water, how it will just flow everywhere unless it has some kind of place for it to stop. Think of like a river, like how it has banks. If the water starts to rise, it can overflow and flood everything. So that could like look like maybe like a lack of impulse control or things of that sort. So those are some kind of traits that some of the kind of traits you can associate with water. So let's go ahead and move to the air signs. So some qualities of air, again, our air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. communication, thinking, connection, community, conversations, using the mind, charm, social graces, things of that sort, being very witty, so those are like some of the strengths of air, being able to use your words, being able to, the gift of gab, community, relationships, those type of things, a graciousness. So some of the shadow traits of air signs can be air. Think of air, how you cannot contain it. It goes everywhere. So you may have heard the term being an airhead. That's kind of used as someone who's like all over the place, or like who's forgetful or flaky. And I am somebody that has a lot of air in my chart. And I relate to this one. I relate to this one a lot. So, yeah, some of the other things, like you can be just like in your head a lot. You can be somebody that has so many dreams, but like none of it is grounded into like a game plan. So none of it actually happens. It's like all talk, but no, nothing concrete behind it. Being like, so free and spontaneous and unrestricted that it's like nothing actually gets done. So those are some of the shadow traits of an air sign. And yeah, I relate to that one big time. for both. I have learned to really embrace some of those things about me. And I will explain later on how I am able to balance this out. So moving on to our earth signs, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So the earth signs are grounded, down to earth. They're very much in the physical reality of this world. There's like a focus on things like sustainability, environmental things. I like to think of like being grounded in, like, of course, the earth, the stones. There's just something about the physicality of the world that they embody. I feel like anyone who like works with plants and herbs and natural type of medicine is very like, they probably have some earth, a lot of earth in them. Another thing that is associated with the earth sign is like being hardworking, focused on achieving goals, and doing things, making plans, being careful about building things in a way that is sustainable and long term. They're able to like really be hardworking and self-reliant and resilient. Some of the shadow traits of earth signs can be like maybe a little bit too obsessed with physical possessions, or they have a hard time expressing emotions because they're so hard and rock solid, that they don't allow things to flow in the same way a water sign would. They can become obsessed with following rules, so rigid, not flexible. They can be defensive or so stubborn and unwilling to make any type of change, or they can be like appear to like have it all figured out, and they know everything and refuse to like do anything any other way, or hold on to those physical possessions, hoarding, being stingy, things of that sort. So those are some of the shadow traits that you might see with the earth signs. I am a Virgo rising, and so one of these things that comes up for me, the shadow side, is perfectionism, is something that has absolutely plagued me for a long time, until I realized that this is something that is in my chart, and this is something that I can actually use to my advantage. So talk about a cosmic blessing, actually using this earth sign part of my chart to help balance out all of that air that I have. So again, I'll talk about that a little bit later. So next we have our fire signs. So this will be our Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So when you think of fire, the element of fire, it is hot, it is feisty, it is fiery. Some things with fire signs is they can be considered like hot-headed, but this can also lead to them having this zest, this like love of life, this enthusiasm, this desire to just like to do things and do it quickly, almost impulsive. There's an optimism about them and things of that sort. So this can also come out as someone that has a lot of life force energy. There's a lot of, I'm sure that there are some placements in athletes that have to do with like having a well-placed fiery something in their chart. There's also like a fearlessness and courageousness that comes with these fire signs. They're very magnetic. It's hard not to notice them. And some of the shadow traits that can come with this is, I've kind of mentioned, it's a back and forth. Again, cosmic blessings here, blessings, lessons, curses, it just depends on how you express these things, because they can be something that's called the shadow. But when you work with your shadows, you are and truly embody them, and accept them for how they are. You can use them in ways that can help you out. And, so some of the shadow traits, like I mentioned, like impulsive, having a hot temper, it's maybe some anger issues, outbursts, maybe being impatient, or like not able to, censor themselves, just no filter. Those are some of the things. Being super competitive. Those are some of the shadow traits that can come with fire signs. But as I've said, you can learn how to work with these shadow sides in ways that can help you become a better person. You can use those things to your advantage. So as I've mentioned, I am somebody that has a lot of air. I have my sun, my moon, my Mercury, and Venus in the sign of Libra. And so I also have like my MC in Gemini. So like I said, a lot of air that's happening in my chart, and the way that I have basically no water in my chart. So if you know me, if you're listening to this, of course you know me. I am an artist, and so for me, I actually have to ground myself in order to feel and connect with my emotions. So as I've said, I have a Virgo rising. My Mars, which is the planet of like drive and action and passion and things of that sort, is in the sign of Virgo, and the shadow side of that looks like perfectionist tendencies, and this like there's like this, but there's also the flip side of that is like this willingness to serve others and to work in this way that that is meant to be helpful. I find that because I have so much air, I can be in my head so much. And so that combination of the perfectionism and the being in my head, I really have to ground myself. I find that I do this by going into nature, taking these walks, burning off energy, that because if I just like sit, I can't sit still. I will just be in my head and spin around in circles and go nowhere. It's great to have all of these ideas, but I have to transmute those into something physical. So for me, like I said, grounding myself in nature is absolutely important to me, and taking those ideas and putting them down onto paper, onto canvas as writing in journals or creating my art. That is a huge, huge thing for me. And I create all sorts of art. It's not just one type of thing. Whatever I have at my disposal, or writing, any of that stuff, it's taking all of those thoughts and ideas that are floating around in my head and putting it somewhere physical. That is something that truly grounds me and keeps me out of my head, and gets me going places. And so, like I've mentioned, like I kind of have the issues with the perfectionism, and a way that has shown up is that I have not put out a podcast episode in quite some time, and it's because I was not letting myself make the mistakes. I'm putting this episode up. I tried to record it at least 7 times already and kept thinking, no, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. But no, I'm putting this one out. I'm putting it out there. But whenever I'm grounded and in my body, that is when I'm actually able to tap into my emotions. I don't have water in my chart. I have one planet. I have Pluto in Scorpio, and so like that's there's a depth there. There is something like very transformative and very way deep. It's not a surface level type thing. And I think I connect with that through the art. I connect with it through not just creating my own art, but like when I consume like a really good book or movie or music. Oh my gosh, music for sure. Like I'll listen to a song that just like sends chills up my spine, and like I will listen to some songs that will just like bring me to tears. There's also, something about like when I see things that are just so beautiful, it will bring me to tears. It brings me like to just this place of overwhelming emotion that I normally am not able to just like, I don't get that, on a day-to-day basis. It's usually there's something that's related to art or an experience or something that I tap into that lets me connect with these emotions that, someone that has more water in their chart might be able to feel more easily or more regularly. So that is just a little snippet that I wanted to share with y'all today. Just, did you figure out anything new about your zodiac sign? Did you know what element your zodiac sign is? Have you looked at your birth chart? Do you see how much of each element you have? So again, like I've said, I have a lot of air in my chart, and I have to balance that out with, and try and tap into all of these other places to help me feel more grounded. So I also have air, and then fire is my next element that I have a lot of in my chart. So that's why I think it's so important for me to find the grounding in order to balance it. And that helps me connect to the water that I don't have in my chart. And so when I keep all of these things in mind and I move through the world, think with those things, thinking about those things and knowing that I have to find that balance. And maybe that's just me being ultra Libra, like wanting to find that balance. I just feel like a more whole human being. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all today. Let me know if any of this resonated. Let me know, what does your chart look like? Are you all fire? Are you all air? Are you super watery? Are you super grounded? It's really interesting for me to connect with all of these people who have given me the privilege of looking at their birth chart and, kind of explaining, oh, hey, I see why you are the way you are based on your birth chart. So that is it for today. And I'll talk to y'all next time.